Shalom, I want to begin a lesson off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakurash. Double blessing and honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who taught me this truth through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, which are the true names of the Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, in the ancient Hebrew. Coming at y'all with a live lesson, man. Just want to talk to y'all about something. Originally, I was going to do my lesson today on the book of Isaiah chapter 4 verse 1, but the Lord have put the spirit on me to do my topic on something else, so I'm gonna go ahead and talk about a conversation that I just had. So Lord willing, the lesson be edifying to those out there listening and watching. I'm gonna try and recall it to the best of my ability, and pull out scriptures through the precepts, or pull out precepts through the scriptures. So with that being said, we'll go ahead and start it off with this, man. The book of 1 Timothy chapter 6 and verse 20, it says, we get verse 19. Laying up in store for themselves a good foundation against the time to come, that they may lay hold on eternal life. O Timothy, keep that which is committed to thy trust, avoiding profane and vain babblings, and oppositions of science falsely so called, which some professing have erred concerning the faith. Grace be with thee. Amen. Now, the reason why I pull this up, because it's just going to give an overview of all the things that's going on that I'm going to be talking about in this lesson. With this conversation that I had with a few people, a few residents in my building. Nonetheless, it's going to be specifically on one guy for real, because I was talking to three people, but the one dude just couldn't seem to get it through his head. That's why I titled this lesson bugouts. But you ever come across that person who he's just going, he can't, the scriptures and the truth is just so damn, it's so simple to them. It don't matter how plain upon tables you put it to them, they just can't get it, right? It's just not for them. But I'm going to get this in the NLT. It says, by doing this, they will be storing up their treasure as a good foundation for the future, so that they may experience true life, right? What it says in the scriptures, storing up your treasure in heaven now while you're on earth. You know what I'm saying? I got referred to it as a spiritual piggy bank. Timothy, guard what the Most High has entrusted to you. Avoid godless, foolish discussions with those who oppose you with their so-called knowledge. This is exactly what this nigga was trying to do, man. And the nigga has stumbling blocks and snares on his spirit that he can't get this shit, right? Some people have wandered from the faith by following such foolishness. May the Most High's grace be with you all. I have to draw myself away from the conversation, because the shit that the niggas was talking about, they was going, you met a person that's ever going too deep, right? And even one of the dudes who was in the conversation, he said, you ask too many questions. Like, you going too deep into it to where you can't even ask simple questions. Like, I asked this nigga, I said, do you believe in air? This nigga said, I don't know. That's a yes or no question, right? Do you believe in air? Yes or no? Because he said, he kept on asking me, how do I know that the Lord is real? How do I know that what I believe in is true? I said, through faith. I have a strong amount of faith. I fear the Lord. What I believe in is backed by the scriptures, right? Telling them all these things and pulling out precepts, you know what I'm saying, to back up my point. Because like he said, he ended up saying, yes, he believes in air. I also brought out, you know what I'm saying, that those which the things that are not seen are more powerful than the things that are seen, man. I started to explain these things to him, right? Let me see. I can go back. Let's see. But I'm probably gonna be jumping around because this conversation was so long. I was talking to these niggas for like an hour and a half. I was talking to him about a lot of stuff. Let me see Proverbs 11:1. Yeah, so they was talking about I guess the conversation started with he basically was asking about like good and evil and all this other stuff. And I basically told him with good, what I'm saying, there has to be bad because there has to be a balance, man. With all things in life, there has to be a balance. So if there's wicked, then there has to be, what I'm saying, the just. Um, with good, there has to be bad. Like I always say, man, you pray for rain, you have to deal with the mud too. You can't expect good things in your life and there not be any bad things because like my coworker was saying, or the person I was talking to was saying, one of the other guys, not this specific person, but like he said, because if you just get good things in your life, you're not gonna appreciate it if you never went through anything bad. So I brought out Proverbs 11:1. A false balance is abomination to the Lord Yahweh, but a just weight is his delight. When pride cometh, then cometh shame, but with the lowly is wisdom. The integrity of the upright shall guide them, but the perverseness of transgressors shall destroy them. Yahweh detests the use of dishonest scales, but he delights in accurate weights. Right? Pride leads to disgrace, but with humility comes wisdom. Honesty guides good people. Dishonesty destroys treacherous people. So through this conversation I was having with this dude, which went on for a while, I started to realize that this nigga don't believe in the Bible. If you got to question it that much, then your faith is little, man. If you have to question yourself that much, then your faith is little. Because a lot of this shit in the Bible, I don't want to say shit, but a lot of the things in the Bible are ABC. Now, of course, you have parables in there to where you have to have wisdom, knowledge, and understanding even to understand the scriptures. But there are parables in the Bible, you know what I'm saying, that parables are proverbial sayings to where it's not plain upon tables, and you actually have to know, you have to have a good amount of wisdom and knowledge to understand it. It's not just plain in your face, you know what I'm saying? Everything can't just be plain, you got to throw people off. It might be this. Yeah. The book of Matthew 6:30 says, wherefore, if the Most High so clothe the grass of the field,
Strong's G 181. Akatastasia. Akatastasia.
Commotion, confusion, promote. That's what the Lord have that spirit on them. These niggas are arguing. In this whole conversation, I'm not arguing. I'm teaching you something. What'd he say? Shut the fuck up and listen so Uncle learn you something. I'm not debating the Bible with you niggas. I'm not. I'm going to teach you something. It's going to be a lecture, as the brother says. I'm not debating and going back and forth with you. Nigga, I'm going to learn you something. And if you can't get that through your head, then I'm moving on. So if them niggas tell me, Eric, let's continue our conversation from there. Nope, I'm cool. I'm not finna debate the Bible with you niggas. Salaki. The book of Romans, chapter 11 and verse 7, it says, What then? Israel hath not obtained that which he seeketh for, but the election hath obtained it, and the rest were blinded. I can't help you, bro. The Lord have put a spiritual veil over you, or close your ears to where he doesn't want you to understand this, and he don't want you to understand it. It says, According as it is written, the Most High Power hath given them the spirit of slumber, eyes that they should not see, and ears that they should not hear unto this day. And David saith, Let their table be made a snare, and a trap, and a stumbling block, and a recompense unto them. Let their eyes be darkened, that they may not see, and bow down their back, and bow down their back always. That's all I'm gonna say. Whatever the fuck they did to piss the Lord off, Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua, Babu Kushah, Babu Kushah, Babu Kushah. Do not do to me what you did to them niggas. I want to stay in the truth. I want to stay in the faith. Talking to them niggas, I see that just put another sense of fear of the Lord on me. Honestly, the fact that you were under that, you are in that lot, my nigga. That shit is scary. You can't even get the simple, basic shit. Oh yeah, your ass is grits. Your ass is grits. Shit is kicking up in the world, boy. Hey, we almost close to the end, man. Book of Romans, chapter 11 and verse 9 in the NLT. Likewise, David said, Let their bountiful table become a snare, a trap that makes them think all is well. Let their blessings cause them to stumble, and let them get what they deserve. Let their eyes go blind so they cannot see, and let their backs be bent forever. I say then, have they stumbled that they should fall? The Most High forbid, but rather through their fall, salvation is come unto the Gentiles for to provoke them to jealousy. It says that the Most High Power's people stumble and fall beyond recovery? Of course not. They were disobedient, so the Most High made salvation available to the Gentiles. But he wanted his own people to become jealous and claim it for themselves. Now, he went into this as well, Galatians 3 and 28, which I wasn't able to give him a scripture to back that up because the niggas was going too deep and was talking about some other shit. But when you read above that, it's speaking to the Israelites, right? Because those are the group of people, those are the only people that the law was given to. The Lord gave the Israelites the law to follow. The other nations, like I told them, had their own gods that they follow. We went and worshiped false idols and false gods because our people wanted to be like them. I've said that through multiple different lessons.
Strong's G 1484. Ethnos. Ethnos.
A multitude, whether of men or of beasts, associated or living together. A company, troop, swarm. A multitude of individuals of the same nature or genus, the human family. A tribe, nation, people group. In the Old Testament, foreign nations not worshiping the true God, pagans, Gentiles. Paul uses the term for Gentile Christians. So, in the New Testament, when the word Gentile is being referred to, it's referring to Christians. Who were the Christians? The Israelites. Where did you say that, brother? All right. The book of Acts, chapter 11 and verse 25. Then departed Barnabas to Tarsus for to seek Saul. And when he had found him, he brought him unto Antioch. And it came to pass that a whole year they assembled themselves in the church and taught much people. And the disciples were called Christians first in Antioch. And in these days came prophets from Jerusalem unto Antioch. Why did they call them Christians? They were mocking the Israelites because they believed that Yahushua was Hamashiach, which is what Christ means. It means Hamashiach, the anointed one. Now, he brought out Galatians. Oh, fuck it. I did not mean to do that. Oh, it's lucky. I don't even know why I'm still awake. I got class in the morning. Hey, he did what he did, man. Ecclesiastes 1:18, I was talking about. Much study is grief. Now, if we go to, I didn't even read this whole chapter. But I started at verse 20. Let's get verse 14. That the blessing of Abraham might come on the Gentiles through Yahushua Mashiach, that we might receive the promise of the Spirit through faith. Oh, so like I ain't mean to do that. Through Hamashiach, Yahushua, God has blessed the Gentiles with the same blessing he promised to Abraham, so that we who are believers might receive the promise Holy Spirit through faith. Now, mind you, I just went into that word Gentiles. Now, says, and we determine that when it says Gentiles in the New Testament, it's talking about Gentiles, Christians, for the Israelites. Brethren, I speak after the manner of men, though it be but a man's covenant, yet if it be confirmed, no man disannulleth or addeth thereto. Jumping down, I went to verse 21 and read this when I was down there. Is the law then against the promises of the Most High? The Most High forbid, for if there had been a law given which could have given life, verily righteousness should have been by the law. Now, mind you, you got to remember, who was the law given to again? The Israelites. So therefore, the Israelites are the only ones that can transgress against the law, meaning sin or break it, because it was given unto them, a holy people. Was the law given unto the Moabites? No. Was the law given unto the Ammonites? No. Was the law given unto the Edomites? No. Okay then. But the scripture hath concluded all under sin, that the promise by faith of Yahushua Mashiach might be given to them that believe. But before faith came, we were kept under the law, shut up unto the faith which should afterwards be revealed. Wherefore the law was our schoolmaster to bring us unto Hamashiach, that we might be justified by faith. Justified.
Strong's G 1344. Dikaiao. Dikaiao.
To render righteous, or such he ought to be, to show, exhibit, events, want to be righteous, such as he is and wishes himself to be considered, to declare, pronounce, one to be just, righteous, or such as he ought to be. The only people that could be righteous or just are the Israelites, once again. But after that faith is come, we are no longer under a schoolmaster. For ye are all the children of the Most High Power by faith in Yahushua Mashiach. So it's clearly talking about the Israelites. For as many of you as have been baptized into Hamashiach have put on Hamashiach. Here's his point. There is neither Jew nor Greek. There is neither bond nor free. There is neither male nor female. For ye are all one in Yahushua Mashiach. And if ye be Hamashiach, then are ye Abraham's seed and heirs according to the promise. Right? Which is talked about Abraham's seed receiving the kingdom of heaven and all this other thing. It's given to who? Once again, the Israelites. Now we're going to go into that word Greek, because you have to remember, through the curses we were scattered abroad amongst the nations. You had Israelites who were Hellenized.
Strong's G 1672. Hellene. Hellene.
Which is where that word Hellene means. Comes from. Hellenized comes from the word Hellene. It says a Greek, either by nationality, which there were Jakes over there, Israelites who were Greek by nationality because they lived there. But their heritage, their ethnicity, their lineage went back to the Israelites, whether a native of the mainland or of the Greek islands or colonies. In a wider sense, the name embraces all nations, not Jews, that made the language, customs, and learning of the Greeks their own. The primary reference is to a difference of religion and worship, right? You also had Jakes over there who thought they were Greeks. So they were over there going into their customs and into their beliefs. Those would be the 2/3 wicked niggas. They didn't acknowledge that they was Israelites. Same as you have the Divine Nine now. Those same spirits that went off back in those days. When it came to Salaki, back in those days, they went off and they thought that they were Greeks when they were actually Israelites. Whoops, I'm tweaking. We can go into 2 Maccabees 4:1. This Simon now, of who we spake afore, having been a betrayer of the money and of his contrary slandered Onias, as if he had terrified Heliodorus and been the worker of these evils. Thus was he bold to call him a traitor that had deserved well of the city and tendered his own nation and was so zealous of the laws. But when their hatred went so far that by one of Simon's faction murders were committed, Onias seeing the danger of this contention and that Apollonius, as being the governor of Colossyria and Phoenice, did rage and increase Simon's malice, he went to the king not to be an accuser of his countrymen, but seeking the good of all, both public and private. This is during the Roman Empire. For he saw that, I said Roman Empire, I meant to say Greek. For he saw that it was impossible that the state should continue quiet and Simon leave his folly, unless the king did look thereunto. But after the death of Seleucus, when Antiochus called Epiphanes, remember Antiochus Epiphanes, he was a harsh Greek ruler that ruled over us and did terrible shit to the Israelites, took the kingdom, Jason, the brother of Onias, labored under hand to be his priest, promising unto the king by intercession 360 talents of silver, and of another revenue 80 talents. Besides this, he promised to assign 150 more, if he might have license to set him up a palace for exercise and for the training up of youth in the fashions of the heathen, and to write them of Jerusalem by the name of Antiochians. Now let's get this. Jason was an Israelite who was a Greek by nationality, and this nigga caused Israelites to stir. This is what it says. Jason introduces Greek customs. Like I said, it's so straightforward. If you can't get it, it's not for you, bro. So where am I at? I stopped at verse 10. Reading from verse 7 in the Good News Translation. Later, when King Seleucus died, and Antiochus, known as Epiphanes, mind you, niggas will tell you, "Oh, the Bible not real, it's fake. It's a whole bunch of fairy tales. It's not real." You gotta remember, man, the Bible is the most accurate history book. It goes over everything. It's 1611 to be exact. Antiochus Epiphanes was a real ruler. He's spoken of in the book of Daniel as well. I want to say the 7th chapter. Antiochus IV Epiphanes was king of the Seleucid Empire from 175 BC until his death in 164 BC. Notable events during Antiochus' reign include his near conquest of Ptolemaic Egypt, his persecution of the Jews of Judea and Samaria, and the rebellion of the Maccabees. Right? All right, let's read this. Later, when King Seleucus died and Antiochus, known as Epiphanes, became king, predecessor Antiochus, son of Seleucus IV, was a Hellenistic monarch of the Seleucid Empire reigning between 175 and 170 BC. In classic antiquity, the Hellenistic period covers the time in Greek and Mediterranean history after classical Greece between the death of Alexander the Great in 323 BC and the death of Cleopatra VII in 30 BC, which was followed by the ascendancy of the Roman Empire as signified by the Battle of Actium in 31 BC and the Roman conquest of Ptolemaic Egypt the following year, which eliminated the last major Hellenistic kingdom. Mind you, those Greeks stole their heritage from the original Greeks, which is the Japhites, the so-called Pacific Islanders, which are the Hawaiians now. Its name stems from the ancient Greek word Hellas, which is what we just got, which was gradually recognized as a name for Greece, from which the modern historiographical term Hellenistic was derived. The term Hellenistic is to be distinguished from Hellenic, is that the latter refers to Greece itself, while the former encompasses all the ancient territories of the period that had come under significant Greek influence, particularly the Hellenized ancient Near East after the conquest of Alexander the Great, or Alexander of Macedon, which he's also spoken of in the Apocrypha, and he's spoken of in the Book of Daniel. All right, now going back. Later, when King Seleucus died and Antiochus, known as Epiphanes, became king, Jason, the brother of Onias, became high priest by corrupt means. He went to see the king and offered him 27,000 pounds of silver, with 6,000 more pounds to be paid later. That's a buttload of money today. That's a stupid amount of money today. Salakia. Jason also offered him an additional 11,250 pounds of silver for the authority to establish a stadium where young men could train and to enroll the people of Jerusalem as citizens of Antioch. They were first called Christians at Antioch. Antioch came from Antiochus. Question mark? The king gave his approval, and just as soon as Jason took over the office of high priest, he made the people of Jerusalem change to the Greek way of life.
Strong's G 1672, Hellene.
Maybe I'm slow. In a wider sense, the name embraces all nations, not Jews, that made the language, customs, and learning of the Greeks their own. The primary reference is to a difference of religion and worship. This is the book of 2 Maccabees, chapter 4 and verse 10. The king gave his approval, and just as soon as Jason took over the office of high priest, he made the people of Jerusalem change to the Greek way of life. Let's continue reading. 2 Maccabees chapter 4 and 11 in the KJV. And the royal privileges, let me read verse 10 so y'all can get the context. Which when the kingdom which when the king had granted, and he had gotten into his hand the rule, he forthwith brought his own nation to the Greekish fashion, and the royal privileges granted of special favor to the Jews by the means of John, the father of Eupolemus, who went ambassador to Rome for amity and aid. He took away and putting down the governments which were according to the law, he brought up new customs against the law. For he built gladly a place of exercise under the tower itself. Mind you, gymnasiums, that's a Greek thing. that's something that the Greeks came up with. On that fruitcake shit. And brought the chief young men under his subjection and made them wear a hat. Now such was the height of Greek fashions and increase of heathenish manners through the exceeding profaneness of Jason, that ungodly wretch, and no high priest, that the priests had no courage to serve any more at the altar, but despising the temple and neglecting the sacrifices, hastened to be partakers of the unlawful allowance in the place of exercise. Like I said, you had Israelites who were Hellenized. They went under the Greek customs. You have the ones who were Greeks by nationality, which all of them were Greeks by nationality, but some of those people recognized they heritage. They recognize that I'm an Israelite. I'm just a Greek by nationality. Then you have the wicked 2/3 niggas. Them niggas didn't want to acknowledge that they was Israelites. Like I said, the Divine Nine, they thought they was Greeks, so they took on their customs. They went off. And neglecting the sacrifices, hastened to be partakers of the unlawful allowance in the place of exercise after the game of discus called them forth, not setting by the honors of their fathers, but liking the glory of the Grecians best of all. Yeah, man, these niggas are through. Verse 11 in the Good News Translation. He began by abolishing the favors that John had secured for the Israelites from previous Syrian kings. Remember, because we were under Syrian captivity. John was the father of Eupolemus, who later went to Rome to make an alliance and to establish ties of friendship. Jason also did away with our Israelite customs and introduced new customs that were contrary to our law. Like I said to these niggas, the other nations had their own gods that they followed and served and their own laws that they went after, right? So like I said beforehand, in the book of Galatians, where the law was our schoolmaster to bring us unto Mashiach, that we might be justified by faith. Who was the law given unto? Who was the law of the Lord Yahweh Shai? So like the Lord Yahweh, why Yahweh Shai given to the Israelites? It wasn't given to the other nations. It wasn't given to the Greeks. They had their own laws and customs. Jason also did away with our Israelite customs and introduced new customs that were contrary to our law. With great enthusiasm, he built a stadium near the Temple Hill and led our finest young men to adopt the Greek custom of participating in athletic events. Because of the unrivaled wickedness of Jason, that ungodly and illegitimate high priest, the craze for the Greek way of life and for foreign customs reached such a point that even the priests lost all interest in their sacred duties. They lost interest in the temple services and neglected the sacrifices. Just as soon as the signal was given, they were rushed off to take part in the games that were forbidden by our law. They did not care about anything their ancestors had valued. They prized only Greek honors. And this turned out to be the source of all their troubles. For the very people whose ways they admired and whose customs they tried to imitate became their enemies and oppressed them. That's how That's why we're in the predicament that we're in. Once again, what does it say in the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and verse 10? Let me get this in the KJV and I'm going to get it. Not setting by the honors of their fathers, but liking the glory of the Grecians best of all, by reason whereof sore calamity came upon them. For they had them to be their enemies and avengers, whose customs they follow so earnestly, and unto whom they desire to be like in all things. So, Lord willing, I got my point across, man. Never trust our enemy, for like his iron wrestles towards his wickedness. And what do? We continue to trust our enemies. We went into a lot of things, man. This is all I'm gonna say. If a nigga can't get it, a nigga can't get it. It's not meant for him. Honestly speaking, it's not. Jake wants everybody to be included, but the Lord has a chosen set of people that he chose to be his people, man. And there's no getting around that. Like I said, man, I went into prophecy with these niggas. Digital ID, central bank digital currency, all of that good stuff. But now we're just in the wait period because they wanted to test everything that I say or go against it. You know what? That's completely fine, man. They have no belief, and that's all right. That's on them at the end of the day, because we're gonna see very soon. These prophecies are gonna come to pass. So what are you gonna say when we hear 20 years later, and it still ain't came to pass? Well, I guess we're gonna be here 20 years later, and I'm gonna still be saying the same shit. But that don't mean I'm gonna lose my faith, man. Lord willing. So I'm gonna close it off there, man. This lesson started getting lengthy, but the spirit started burning in me, man, because it's frustrating talking to these niggas. It really is. Now, it wasn't that bad when I was talking to them, but it's like, let me just get this there. I actually was trying to break this shit down so simple to this nigga to explain to him, you know what I'm saying, that we're the Israelites, Negroes, Natives, and Latino people, as well as, you know what I'm saying, those who are the Israelite foreigners are confused in the faith. I showed all these niggas examples, man. Patrick Mahomes is a good example. Tracy Ellis Ross, good example. Rashida Jones, a good example. Vin Diesel, a good example. Jason Kidd, a good example. Another one I'm missing. Blake Griffin, a good example. All of these things. But I just showed him Patrick Mahomes. I told him, I said, remember, man, the seed goes through the man. Whenever you look through the Bible, it always says somebody begot somebody, right? For instance, Jesse begot David. David begot Solomon. Solomon begot, you know what I'm saying, so-and-so. So the seed goes through the man. It does not go through the woman. Meaning that's where your lineage come from, right? I showed them niggas an example. It don't take that much mingling with the heathen nations in order for them to appear or have the appearance of the heathen nation. That's why you can't judge based off appearance. You got to judge by the spirit. Patrick Mahomes kids look white. Does that mean that they're Edomites though? Nope. They're Jakes. Why? Because their father was a Jake, and their father's father was a Jake. Let me get this, man. The book of Habakkuk 2:1, it says, I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower, and will watch to see what he will say unto me, and what I shall say, so like in what I shall answer when I am reproved. And Yahweh answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. We have to, and the brother just told me this the other day. You have to dumbify shit down to Jake so much. You got to put that shit on baseline level, because these niggas are slow. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, meaning delay, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. So non-believers, man, they don't think that these things are going to come to pass that we're prophesying about. Very soon, though, will come to pass, Lord willing, in these coming months or these few years. Whenever it is, we know that it's going to happen, man, Lord willing. So with that being said, I'm going to close it off there. Call Allah Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai Bahashim HaKakodash. Double blessing and honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught me this truth through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai. And until next time, I say Shalom Israel, Shalom, and as always, we're one day closer to the kingdom, man. Keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing. Shalom.